Today is the last day, the last Sunday in a chapter of our church's history. It's not very often I can stand up here and say that to you. And for those of you who are brand new, I said my name was Ron. I'm also the founding pastor of the church. So I'm familiar with all 22 years of our history. And rarely do I have the privilege of standing here and saying, this is the last Sunday in a chapter of our church's history, because next Sunday we open a new chapter in our church's history, because our new lead pastor comes this week, is arriving this Thursday, and will be standing on this stage next Sunday. Are you excited about that? They spent the night in Vail, Colorado, and they're headed to Utah on the way to Southern California, and they missed all the snow that came through, if you're a weather-watching person, that came through the heart of our country this last week. They were just on the front end of it. So that's a pretty exciting thing. For the next maybe 5 minutes, I want to do some things that I think are really, really appropriate. Because normally, when a church is without a lead pastor, everything just sort of gets put on hold and nobody really moves forward. Well, if you've been connected with New Life for any length of time, you know that that's not how we would do things. Okay? And so for the last 15 months, we have been taking huge steps forward. And I took just a little time this morning to write out some of the things that people working behind the scenes have done in our church over the last 15 months without the help of a lead pastor and with a pastoral staff that's 3 members short. Now, listen to this. This is so fun. Together, we have redesigned, expanded, and upgraded our governance structure to make our church healthier, stronger, and less vulnerable to what we have been through the last 15 months. We have launched an amazing financial planning team, and they have redesigned, expanded, and upgraded all of our financial processes to make them more effective and more transparent for all of us, and you will see that over the coming months. We have chosen and transitioned to a new and better database for our church, and if you've ever transitioned an organization through a database transition, that is massive work, okay? We have executed and completed an international search for a lead pastor. We have launched a connectors team that has changed the culture in our lobby. We've launched a new and expanded, multifaceted system of small groups that eventually will have 4 different kinds of small groups. Two of those kinds have been launched in the last 15 months. We have launched an expanded and much improved way of working with the coming generations through our Next Gen programs. I stood in a room out here this morning, no less than 31 volunteers are back in our Next Gen areas, and they are beginning the job of communicating faith to the coming generation. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? Yeah. Yes, that deserves a hand. We have launched and are executing the redesign of all of our Next Gen areas. I know you see that as you walk in, and we have opened deep and inspiring dialogues about our church's identity and what it means, and I want you to hear this because you're going to hear this often this year, what it means for us to live on the cutting edge of love. That's a pretty good list for 15 months, don't you think? Yes. Now, in order for that to happen, it took a lot of people doing a lot of work. And I couldn't list them all, but there are 4 teams of people that I want to highlight because they have stepped forward and they have put in literally hundreds and hundreds of hours. And these people deserve some recognition. So turn your attention to the video screens. And the first team is the search team. These are the people that executed that international search. And they were led, first of all, by Linda Shaley, who led that team, and then there was Mike Lazzarini and Lenora Dunlap and Don Reed, Diva Shinzato, and Bill Butler. Those people deserve a hand. Literally, they took 70 applications and they went to 70 different church sites and they read through every page on 70 different church websites. And they pulled up teachings from 70 different people and listened to them, and they Facebook stalked 70 different people. Right. That was a ton of work, all right? Okay, let's go on to the financial planning team. These people at first met every week. I love to think of them as financial gurus because they operate in a world that most of us would go, thank you, you can have it, all right? And they do such a great job. They have been led by Dave De La Fuente, who's a wonderful guy, and on the rest of the team is Jeff Eisenhower, Lynn Battaglia, Kevin Lee, Jason Lamb, Justin Bartlow. Yes, that's such a great team, and they have done a fantastic job. I can tell you, because of them, our church is actually in a financially more transparent and solid foundation than it's ever been in its 22 years of history. They're great people. The stewards, oh my goodness, these people have worked so hard this year. And by the way, on their shoulders lie every major decision that our church makes. They carry that responsibility not only spiritually and personally, but legally. They carry that responsibility. And these are people who have worked really hard behind the scenes. Take a look at them. Ashley is the chairman of that team. And Bill Butler is on that team. Diva Shinzato is on that team. Rick DeCarli's on that team. Angela's on that team. I don't know where they got that guy. But anyway, yes, they have worked very hard. We have a staff, and some of them are paid and some of them are volunteer, but I can tell you, without this next group of people, our church would not be at the end of 15 months where it is. They have knocked it out of the park. So I'm going to run through them very quickly. We'll start with Angela, who leads them. You've already seen her. Justin Bartlow, who was on our staff until July of last year. Kathy Grant, if you call the church office, you'll often get her. Denise Redeker, who handles all my appointments. Julie Reese, that whatever we don't want to do, she does. Shannon Selstrom, who has been my assistant and Angela's assistant, and she knocked it out of the park. Elise Polino, who now lives in New Jersey, has worked for our church until December of this year, remotely. And Jack McDonald, who works on, yes, right on Jack, all the facilities. Jason Lamb, who handles guest services. And that guy. So, that's a fun staff. They have worked very, very hard. And you know what? All those teams and all those people who have worked so hard and done such a great job, it takes somebody to pull all of that together. And in the toughest 15 months of our church's history, we have had someone who has led the team in amazing ways. And primarily, she has been the heartbeat of our church during this 15 months, and she has knocked it out of the park. That's Angela. So fun, so fun. Now here's the great part. Now that we puddled her, she gets to come and teach us. Isn't that awesome? So would you welcome to the stage our interim team lead, Angela Lamb.
need a minute. It's been my joy. I say it a lot, but I love you guys. I feel so fortunate to be part of this church body. For the love.